to another episode of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, obviously on air. You can find me on YouTube, find me on GSMC, on the Sports Network, as well as the Podcasting Network on YouTube. Talk some good old-fashioned, some wrestling. Lately, gotta be honest with the viewers, with you guys. I have been, I've been away because of the whole, Southern California fires and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy, obviously messing up my, my internet connection, which sucks because, I don't know. When things are kind of like technologically, like I'm not the technological, like, savvy kind of guy, so kind of sucks because I'm like, oh, I can't do anything about it. But it's it's over, it's past, it's ready to start this new chapter. We have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about WWE Smackdown. Going to review that. I'm also going to recap what happened on AEW Maximum Carnage, which happened on Wednesday. Going to get into the WWE NXT-TNA new partnership. I'm also going to talk about Bret Hart recently on an episode of the Smoking Skull Sessions. He was talking to Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he said if WCW would have handled his character a little differently, they would have, maybe had a second win. Could have damn near won the Monday Night Wars. Obviously, you would compete against your sworn enemy, Vince McMahon, along with the guy who, the two guys that screwed you over, like in Shawn Michaels and, Paul Levesque. So that, we're going to talk about that in our fifth and final segment. Kelani Jordan on NXT has been showing, signs that she could definitely become a successful heel. It takes superstars turning heel for them to unlock their full potential, and kind of like what she says, like what she mentioned in the locker room, how she doesn't want to be seen as the little sister anymore. Like, look what happened to Edge once when he left the tag team division. Obviously didn't really seem like he was going anywhere, was forced to tag team with people other than Christian to try to achieve success, and he turned heel, and then all of a sudden it just changed. CM Punk too, when CM Punk turned heel. It was, just different vibes, 1,010%. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do any of that, I just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link. Hit up that super chat. Tell me how you feel. Obviously feel, welcome to participate in the chat. Definitely love hearing from you guys. Obviously, since I'm technically not streaming, leave a comment under the video. I'll be sure to get back to you guys ASAP as soon as possible. And just thank you guys for giving us your thoughts, giving us your attention. Definitely appreciate that. We want to make sure that you guys feel like your voice is valued, and obviously it helps us the channel. Just supports it. Obviously, it's it helps us keep the lights on these amazing podcasters, so they can do what they love doing best, is keep bringing you guys content that you guys love so damn much. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party started. Send those super chats, those comments, and you can do no wrong. Say whatever you want to say. Say whatever you want to say. Well, not whatever you want to say, but obviously I keep it about wrestling. Keep it I keep it family friendly. Keep it friendly. But I do love, everybody, in terms of talking sports, there's going to be some criticisms. There's going to be some, some people who aren't going to like the things that I'm, or my hot takes. And it's okay. It's all good in the neighborhood. Water under the bridge already. Just, love talking some good old fashioned wrestling. Of course, hit the super chat, not your thing. During the live shows, always hit up the tips and donations link. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like, and then you can obviously peace, love, and positivity. That's what the GSMC Sports Network is all about. So Superman, punch that like and subscribe button to the show so you guys can get us some notifications when we go live. All right. So without further ado, let's talk about some SmackDown. SmackDown. Ever since it kind of switched to a 3-hour format, it does seem like it's a little slow. It's been a little slow, but for obvious reasons. Obviously, 3 hours is a long time. You gotta squeeze some bookings into there. So far, I feel like that's been good, and it sucks that Roman Reigns hasn't really been on SmackDown since his win on Saturday night's main event. And then, now we're gearing up toward another Saturday night's main event happening on Saturday. So, he's been off TV for quite some time. I would love to see him come back on SmackDown. Definitely 1,010%. So Rey Mysterio kicks off the show, declaring his spot for the Royal Rumble. Was talking about the glory days when he won it back in 2006 for a friend. And then, of course, once everybody was chanting Eddie Guerrero's name, you saw Kevin Owens come out to crash the party. He's still on this high kicks, thinking that he is the one true champion, carrying around that winged eagle belt. And then Rey Mysterio told him straight up, he was like, bro, you're not the champion. And then it was like, all hell broke loose. It was like, oh, you're drinking Cody Rhodes the Kool-Aid. Am I going to take off that mask and, you're going to have bleached hair? And I thought that was kind of funny at that. Kevin Owens, whenever he has the mic, he does such a great job. He does it in comedic fashions. He could be very, very dramatic. He could, like, damn near seem like this match is like the world to him. Like, obviously it is. Obviously, in terms of kayfabe. But he definitely has a way to keep the viewers totally invested in his character, thinking about, caring about, and just lingering on to the next words he's going to say. And, he does a really good job. So if he wins the belt at the Royal Rumble, that'd be big. That would be big. Although I feel like, having Cody Rhodes do a 2-year-long, story, winning back-to-back Royal Rumbles, having him lose. He sold the title for quite some time. He has. But, I don't know. For all that, just to, lose against Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble, I feel like it's, that's not really sufficient enough for, wrestling fans out. The story's there. It would be interesting to kind of see if Randy Orton comes back. Maybe he's the one who screws Kevin Owens, or maybe perhaps he turns heel and maybe he doesn't want to, he's been seeing what Cody Rhodes has been doing on SmackDown, backing up the bloodline still, helping Jimmy Uso out, helping Paul Heyman, and obviously you saw not the last tribal, no, what is it called? Oh, the Tribal Combat. Tribal Combat, Kevin Owens came out to help, Solo Sikoa, and then Cody Rhodes came out and, basically backed up Roman Reigns. So maybe Randy Orton could come back, maybe spin it, an RKO, saying that, Kevin was right this whole time. Because, when they were together as a tag team, I got to be honest, I was into it. I liked it. I definitely liked it 1,010%. Next, we have Nia Jax teaming up with Candace LeRae, taking on Bianca Belair and Naomi before you saw them cut a promo about, they still don't know or have a lead about what, who attacked Jade. Naomi, I don't know what they're doing with the storyline. I just hope it's going to be a nice little, like a shock factor kind of thing. I don't think Bianca did it. I think maybe Bianca will be put in a situation where maybe Jade perhaps she doesn't trust her. Maybe she thinks that Bianca Belair and Naomi, since they've been such good friends for the longest time, maybe, she'd rather be in a tag team with a partner that, she feels good. She feels good that she could carry the team, that she's the EST, she's the strongest, she's the fastest, and all that and all that jazz. And then when Jade's in the ring, a lot of, maybe, she feels like, Bianca feels like Jade overshadows her. Kind of like what Nia Jax was talking about, kind of stirring up the pot when she cut that promo about, I think it was about 2 to 3 weeks ago, about the whole who attacked Jade thing. No, I think it was before Survivor Series. Yeah, it was before Survivor Series because there was, building up toward the War Games match. And, honestly, that could definitely be the case. You saw Belair and Naomi defeat Nia Jax and Candice LeRae. Jimmy Uso takes on Carmelo Hayes. Match was inconclusive. Tonga, Jakob, Fatu of the new young bloodline come out to, to basically show that the OTC or the OG bloodline that it's not over. It's not over until we say it's over. The story just begun. That's what Jacob Fatu said. He grabbed the mic. I was a little shocked to see him grab it because when he's been portrayed in these promos with Solo Sikoa, it seems like he's like this rabid, he's the Samoan werewolf. He's like this rabid werewolf that, he just wants to attack and eat and kill and kill. Kind of see him picking up the mic, having him, cut a promo. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was terrible at all. Solo Sikoa came out, booed off stage, and then you kind of saw Jacob Fatu kind of look at him, a little disappointed. Maybe he feels like it's, hey, Solo, you've had your shot. Maybe it's my turn to try for the Ula Fala. But, overall it was, still building up tension to that Civil War. I don't think that storyline's going to go anywhere different. I definitely think it's going to be a premiere storyline on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. But it was crazy. He was speechless. Solosko was speechless. He got booed off stage. It was funny. LA Knight comes out. I don't know what he was thinking. Started attacking both the superstars. And then, of course, they got the upper hand because the numbers game. Braun Strowman enters the fray. And, of course, once when that one big SOB enters any kind of wrestling ring, you pay attention. This man is the one of the world's strongest men. Obviously not trying to steal a trademark from Mark Henry there. Motor City Machine Guns defeat Los Garza in dramatic fashion thanks to the distraction of Pretty Deadly. B-Fab takes on Piper Niven. She, it's kind of cool to see B-Fab get a little bit of attention. Now it just makes for consecutive weeks that we've seen Pretty Deadly, that we've seen Legado del Fantasma. We even got a couple of sightings of Apollo Crews as well. But, I want to see definitely B-Fab get out of that comfort zone. I want to see her step inside the ring because, I've seen her in the ring wrestle a couple of times. And, I feel like if WWE, if they invest some time and, into her character, she could definitely 1,010% hold her own inside the ring. I've seen it before. So, would love to see that. But, of course, Piper Niven picking up the victory, supporting the WWE Women's United States inaugural champion, Chelsea Green. But, it's going to be interesting to see when Piper, when she has that character change as well. I definitely think she's going to be a future United States champion, but in due time. And then Piper Niven and, Green start beating up B-Fab. Then Mi Chen comes out to save her, and even the odds probably going to be built up for a tag team match at WWE Saturday Night's Main Event, or maybe on Friday for Friday Night Smackdown. Rey Mysterio takes on Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens gets he gets the dub, in not dramatic fashion, but in very heel-like moves. Kevin Owens has embraced this heel character so well, so damn well. The way he panders to the crowd, the way he gets them angry, and just the way he, the way he does his moves, just the way he is able to make Rey Mysterio seem like he was in legit trouble, made it seem like the fans were like, oh, there's no way he's going to beat Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens is going to cheat at any given moment. And then, being in front of his hometown crowd of the 619 in San Diego, it was interesting to kind of see, he brought up his son Dominic and earlier in the show. I thought that was kind of funny. And Kevin Owens got really pissed off. He's like, I'm nothing like your son, Dominic. And it was, once again, Kevin Owens being Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes came out, saves Rey Mysterio from a getting package pile drived. Nick Aldis wants Owens and Rhodes both to sign an addendum. Couldn't get him to do it during the show. The Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels will be the moderate for the contract signing on Saturday Night's Main Event. Johnny Gargano attacks Apollo Crews. WWE Women's Championship. Tiffany Stratton successfully retains her title against Bayley. Roxanne Perez, the former two-time NXT Women's World Champion, was in the crowd. I definitely think she's going to make her way to SmackDown. I would love to see her just, insert herself into that title picture. I definitely think, nothing but good things, moving forward for, Roxanne Perez. All right, guys, so hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into my next segment. We got AEW Maximum Carnage recap. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage. Join me here in about 25 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows with 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, dramas, updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings, injuries from superstars, and active statuses. For promotions like WWE, to AEW, to TNA, to Ring of Honor, we make it, if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show 1010%. All right, to kind of reflect on what we talked about right quick, we did talk about Smackdown. Make sure you guys check that video out. And now we're going to talk about some AEW Maximum Carnage. But before we do any of that, I just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link. Make sure you guys feel absolutely comfortable to participate in the live shows. Obviously, if you watch the videos on YouTube on the GSMC Sports Network or the GSMC Podcasting Network, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe. Also, feel comfortable to comment on drop your hot takes inside that comment section, and we will get back to you guys ASAP. We just want to make sure you guys feel like you're part of the show. Don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. And if you really want to make sure that your chats get noticed, especially when we do it live, make sure you guys hit up that super chat. It's a great way to support the channel. Make sure the GSMC Podcasting Network, the GSMC Sports Network, keeps bringing you guys good, positive sports vibe, unbiased. Well, professional wrestling's a little different because, there are heels, there are baby faces. So, in terms of like regular sports, wrestling is regular sports. So, you know what? I'll just put my foot in my mouth, and I'm just gonna end it here. We make sure that we keep the content coming at you guys 24/7, not 24/7, but on a day-to-day basis. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. So make sure you guys, Superman punch that like and subscribe button. Follow the show, follow the network. So let's keep the conversation going, guys. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome, and together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, the super chat and all your thing, tips and donations link works just as well. So, all right. So without further ado, let's go and move on to some AEW Maximum Carnage review. I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a really, really good show. Recently you've had Kenny Omega and Adam Copeland come back. Something that I feel like AEW definitely needed to spark some kind of new storyline, because, Adam Copeland, the moment he returned to AEW, now he's in a storyline. He's working with, the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, Pac, Claudio Castagnoli, Marina Shafir. So that's a good spot for him. And obviously you've seen, Kenny Omega feud with, with Okada, and now with this whole, with Will Ospreay as well. But it's going to be good. This, like I said, overall, this was decent. All right, so at the Brady Music Center in Cincinnati, Ohio, I got to be honest, I do love the fact that they moved to a smaller venue. I like it. And I saw the All In Texas sign, kind of like what WWE does when you point to that and like WrestleMania and stuff like that. Still, they're starting to advertise pretty early. Well, not too early. It's not that. I guess, better early than, too late. Make sure you want to drive up them ticket sales. It was, It was cool to see Taz come back. Was waiting for him to eventually, waiting for him to get back from injury. I don't think he's going to be part of any storylines moving forward. But, we did see an interesting spot with Hook. But, we'll get into that a little later. All right, so we have Brian Cage going up against Kenny Omega, his in-ring return on Dynamite. It was good. But I did feel like they, Kenny Omega, he's been injured for quite some time, all of 2024, I believe. Yeah, and all of 2024. I feel like they grabbed it all, and then they just, they just condensed it into one match. Like there was, there was blood, there was weapons, there was the all hope is lost for the hero moment, and then he came back. So I did feel like, it was a good Kenny Omega match. He puts on great matches. But this one felt like they were like, okay, you've missed so much since you've been out. Let's go ahead and help, make you catch up. So, I thought that was pretty interesting. Will Ospreay comes out to help out Kenny Omega. The Don Callis family are not too fond of Kenny. You saw Lance Archer, then you saw Kyle Fletcher, and then, not Roosh. Oh, the AEW International Champion, Konosuke Takeshita. He came out. When he came out, he was kicking ass. He was taking names. But Will Ospreay, former foe of Omega, helping him out. I thought that was actually pretty damn cool. But at the end, the Don Callis family walks tall. Definitely 1,010%. And then I noticed Tony Schiavone. I think he made a mistake when he was talking about the AEW International standing tall with Will Ospreay. And I was like, what is he doing? Like, I could have misheard it, 1,010%. But I was kind of like, Will Ospreay's not really standing tall right now, man. Like, I don't know. It was interesting. It was interesting. All right, Ricochet comes out. I definitely do believe that he will be a part of the Hurt Syndicate. You have the golden scissors. He had the golden scissors in his pocket. Like gold. I think, MVP, Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin. And WWE, obviously, with Cedric Alexander. Swerve came out, runs Ricochet out of the building. I thought that was, you saw the snow and everything. Swerve Strickland comes back, and, Swerve Strickland still got it. Since he lost the AEW the World Heavyweight Championship, his bookings have been, it's been all right. I loved the booking with the Hangman Adam Page. I thought that was pretty badass. Needed a new storyline. The Hurt Business approach him. MVP, hey man, take my card. You're gonna regret it if you don't. And then that was him against Bobby. Bobby, his match at AEW. What was it? Damn it, I can't think of the pay-per-view name. But he's getting to work with Ricochet. I like it because I feel like Swerve Strickland isn't your average world, heavyweight class. He can jump off some stuff as well. Like, he can definitely hang in with the speed of Ricochet, and Ricochet's just kind of like out of this world amazing. But it would be interesting to kind of see if maybe you find Samantha Irving somewhat gets involved. Maybe she unveils herself as a manager, because that's the reason why she didn't like WWE's, because they made her a ring announcer. She's always kind of wanted to be in the storyline and kind of be like a manager figure. Also, she could definitely be a manager for the Hurt Business as well. That could definitely be in the mix. Also, with Samantha Irving's musical recording artist background, Swerve Strickland, he was a former recording artist. I think he runs his own podcast, I believe. It'd be interesting to kind of see, like, maybe he tries to dap her up or something. Maybe. Just maybe. And then, like, this whole thing goes down. And, if Samantha Irving enters AEW, I feel like that would be a huge bombshell for wrestling fans. Because especially after everything down with WWE, it was told that, Ricochet wasn't the reason for Samantha Irving's exit. And then later on we find out it kind of did nudge her a little bit. And then, oh no, she wasn't unhappy with WWE. Later to find out that she did have some problems with her WWE assignment or character or whatever. And, if she joins AEW, that would be pretty crazy. That'd be pretty crazy cool. But, all speculations. Mercedes Moné, she was successful, at AEW Dynasty. I think in New Japan Professional Wrestling, when they run those, Worlds Collide, pay-per-views or PLEs. Mercedes Moné racking up all the gold. I got to be honest, I don't hate it, but I kind of do hate it because she's taking all the titles. I feel like it would have been awesome to have Mina Shirakawa be a part of AEW more by winning that TBS championship. People love Mina. I feel like she's great inside the ring. She has a great presence. She cuts decent promos. She does cut decent promos. Mercedes Moné, she's winning too damn much, man. She's so successful. She made comments about being the best women's professional wrestler in the world, and then I feel like Tony Khan is just kind of throwing money at that ego. Just having that be invested. Championship after championship. I think she has 4 now. Sheesh, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. The Hurt Syndicate takes on Private Party and Mark Briscoe. Um, it was crazy. It was a Briscoe match. I love Briscoe matches. Lashley and Benjamin eyeing the tag team titles. I think it was Tony Schiavone who said it. I don't think that. I don't feel like that would be a downgrade for Bobby because I had high hopes that Bobby was going to insert himself into the world title picture, and then someone like Ricochet and Shelton Benjamin could go after those AEW World Tag Team Championships. But then you had the tag team champions, Private Party, and AEW made them kind of look like chumps. They couldn't really hang in the ring with Shelton Benjamin. If they weren't the champions, I would damn near think to myself that I was like, oh, this looks like a squash match or a match like, hey, make the Hurt Syndicate look absolutely, unstoppable. You've seen Private Party dethrone the EVPs, Matthew Nicholas Jackson, the Young Bucks for those AEW World Tag Team Championships. And, just to kind of throw them in the buzzard of, having them be like, okay, now you're going to lose it to the Hurt Syndicate. Like, I don't know. I don't think that would be such a good idea, So I was a little interested in this match. I was a little, on the fence about it. But, it did provide some damn near good entertainment. So it is what it is. MJF approaching, Jeff Jarrett, saying that Jeff Jarrett is the pro wrestling Rim Reaper, obviously bringing up, he's been in it all. He's really been in it all. WWF, WCW, WWE, ran TNA for quite some time. And, just Jeff Jarrett still seems adamant about becoming AEW World Championship. And then as soon as MJF started talking Owen Hart, that's when it started, the fist started flying. This is going to be a pretty good match in the future. And I feel like probably at their next big event, that'll probably happen. Hook against Christian, disqualification. Hook was able to win via disqualifications. The Patriarchy come out to attack him. Samoa Joe's back. Another person who came back recently. He didn't come alone. He came with Katsuyori Shibata. Obviously, those three, with the addition of Hook, they were a nice little trios group for quite some time. But now it's going to be interesting to kind of see with the odds even. What are they going to do with Hook's with this character? I personally thought it would have been interesting to see him like join the Death Riders. But Samoa Joe's back. Katsuyori Shibata's back, and it seems like Samoa Joe is kind of embracing that babyface, overall just that babyface aura. So we had the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. Mariah May, the AEW World Women's Champion, was sitting ringside. Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander started off. Julia Hart came out. Willow Nightingale, Megan Bayne, Toni Storm, Harley Cameron, and then of course, Toni Storm won. No timeless gimmick. I thought that was interesting, but new, rebrand. We heard that Toni Storm wasn't going to be with AEW. She was reportedly quit, but then she came back and, which kind of knew, I kind of thought it was kayfabe. So now she has a shot at that Women's World Championship again. And Mariah May, and, not trying to throw anything at Mariah May because I feel like overall it's the Tony Khan's decision or AEW's creative decision to just be like, all right, let's just throw all the belts and success one way. Mercedes Moné, not give any of these girls a piece of the pie. And, I feel like the women's division's suffering from it, and it provided that I hardly watch, Collision or Rampage, but I don't know, on Dynamite, it doesn't really seem like they get a lot of attention. We have the main event. We have Powerhouse Hobbs, who won the men's Casino Gauntlet match. We saw him win, and now he takes on Jon Moxley. Hobbs was, it was a good match. It seemed like, Powerhouse Hobbs, he's a powerhouse. It seemed like he was going to be unmatched. But Jon Moxley was able to, and that's a great thing about, what Mox can do inside that ring is he can literally make, the biggest, tallest person feel equal. There's no such thing as like a David Goliath match in terms of, taking on Jon Moxley. Then you saw the attack on Powerhouse Hobbs, trying to take out his leg. And then Rated RTR comes out, and then bam, that's the end of the show. Like I said, overall, it was a good episode of AEW. I feel like they're getting better, and I feel like with the addition of, with Samoa Joe coming back, Kenny Omega, also, Adam Copeland coming back in it, I feel like it's feel like it's only going to get better and better and better. I feel like AEW is going to have a huge year this year. I have a feeling. All right, guys, so we do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our next segment. We got WWE TNA announced their partnership last week. We're going to dig into that when we come back. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time here. To talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, drama, and updates. Sorry, I just ate. We talk about, contract inactive statuses. We talk about, injury updates. We talk about superstars. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings from AEW to WWE. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So make sure you guys, Superman, punch that like and subscribe button to the show. All right, so we talked about, some AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage. We talked about Smackdown. Make sure you guys check out those videos on YouTube. And now we're going to dig into some WWE TNA announcing, a future partnership. And, obviously, you guys feel obligated and, not obligated. Sorry, excuse me, that was the wrong word. Definitely feel comfortable on commenting on absolutely any piece of media that the GSMC Sports Network, gives out. So, this is our podcast. Our podcast. All right, so WWE TNA announced their partnership. Kind of saw this coming. We haven't really seen it recently, so I kind of thought it was over, and I hated it. I didn't want it to end. I thought, damn. But, in the past recent year, WWE has finally opened its forbidden door to the likes of TNA. During the Vince McMahon era, this obviously would have never happened. But Triple H, Paul Levesque knows. I feel like he does it for the fans. He knows what's best for the fans. Obviously, he's been there, done that. He's wrestled inside the ring. He's been backstage before, obviously. He is married to Vince McMahon's daughter, Stephanie McMahon. So, he's kind of seen what makes it, what fails. And, Triple H he's been wrestling for a long time during the Monday Night Wars when WCW was there. Once when they accumulated WCW and ECW, they went through the dark ages of WWE. He's been through the ruthless aggression era. He's been, through the Attitude Era. Like, if there's anybody that could take over WWE and run it successfully, probably Triple H, Other than that, probably The Undertaker. And then Shawn doing what he can on NXT. And it's doing pretty damn well. We've seen TNA and NXT giving fans memorable moments. And we're going to see it all. We're going to see it keep coming. Obviously, we saw Carmen Petrovich in TNA as well. Ariana Grace being the liaison between NXT and TNA. Reuniting with her father, Santino Marella, I feel like that's pretty badass. Jordan Grace joining the Royal Rumble, challenging Roxanne Perez. I thought that was pretty dope. Joe Hendry and Frankie Kazarian entering a battle royal to determine the number one contender for Trick Williams' NXT World Championship. That was pretty cool. That was definitely pretty badass. Joe Hendry actually teaming up with the then NXT champ. I thought that was pretty cool. Then he actually got in a match with Ethan Page that main event, for a shot at that title. No Quarter Catch Crew, you see them cross the lines. You've seen Hammerstone. You've seen the Rascals breakup happen on NXT. Oh, God, that was that was heartbreak. That was a hard one to swallow. Definitely a tough pill to swallow. You've seen Tatum Paxley swing on over. It's been great. It's been great for all of these superstars. 1,010%. And now you've seen the Motor City Machine Guns come to SmackDown, kick ass. Then I'm a huge fan of Alex Shelley and and Sabin. I liked them in TNA once when I watched TNA. More than I do now. Now I just kind of check out the highlights and stuff. I'm just kidding. No, I you just gotta, you gotta always subscribe. It's always, subscribe to this, subscribe to that, and I'm like, man, I missed it when it was on, I think it was on Spike TV, I think it was, and then it switched to Vice. I'm not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But these crossovers are awesome. As of today, WWE and TNA announced a historic multi-year partnership with unprecedented crossovers. The agreement will enable talent to garner additional exposure on both NXT and TNA. Who said that? No, I think Ariel. Oh God, Schnurrer, Senior Vice President of Content Distribution for TNA Wrestling and Anthem Sports and Entertainment, said the historic relationship demonstrates that collaboration and competition do not have to be mutually exclusive. So I definitely think she's obviously excited about it. More attention to her brand. Same with NXT. This is a win-win. This is a win-win, and this is how this is. I feel like it's always been a win-win. With the rival wrestling promotions going at it like WCW and WWE, it's always been that rivalness of it. Never really the acceptance of hey, what if we just come together and just do it for the fans. Obviously back then it was like I said, Vince McMahon's kind of a hard ass, but. I feel like right now, like I was talking about, a lot of memorable moments happening where you've seen, people cross that line recently. At the TNA pay-per-view Genesis, you saw Nathan Frazier and Axiom, the NXT World Tag Team titles, sit outside watching the Hardys defend their titles against, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel of the Rascals. I really freaking Wes Lee, man. Freaking Wes Lee. The No Quarter Catch Crew as well also jumped they jumped over the line. They smashed open that forbidden door. We never really got to see Jordan Grace go up against Natalya though, and that's something that I really would love to see, because I know before this even was thought to be true, I think this was about 2 years ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, I'm not too sure. But Natalya was actually, she's seen Jordan Grace in TNA. I think it might have been around the time of her Royal Rumble entrance, and it completely shocked the world. Everybody was super excited and stoked. I remember watching, it was pretty badass. And, Natalya, I think she tweeted at Jordan Grace, or tagged her in it, I don't know how you say it. But, she's like, oh, when are we going to open that forbidden door? Kind of teasing fans a little bit. And we eventually got what we wanted. So, definitely credit to WWE for finally, doing that, giving the fans what they want. They're in it for not just the wrestlers, but they're in it for the fans, Shawn Michaels, he had this to say, and I quote, "We look forward to growing and evolving our partnership with TNA Wrestling and its outstanding group of athletes." They get the bigger picture. They get the bigger picture now. Wrestling isn't what it was back in the day. During the digital era, you have so many different options and streaming and stuff like that. And NXT being on the CW, kind of have to hold their own if they want to, continue to have that television contract to keep their content coming to, fans, basic cable, Channel 5, the CW. Well, I don't know if it's Channel 5, but I remember that's how, that's what it's always been. I think it was WB before that. I'm not too sure. I'm showing my age here. But it's good for TNA. Really, really good for TNA. Slammiversary, one of the best It's, their gate attendance or something like that is one of the best in their company's history. Also, their big one, Bound for Glory, was absolutely off the hook. It was off the charts. It was great. And you got to credit these wrestlers. You got to credit these young, talented athletes that aren't afraid to be like, yeah, you know what, I'll go on to TNA. It's not such a big deal to me. Because, kind of like what not Will Ospreay, Wesley was talking about when he was talking to Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz of the Rascals. Like, oh, you just want to use WWE for the name. You're a TNA wrestler. You're not a WWE superstar. And, them just using that, because a lot of fans, kind of think that way too. Like, TNA doesn't get a lot of attention like, Smackdown or Raw or maybe even AEW. But I watch TNA. They have a group of young, outstanding athletes. It's not like WWE's like, the majors and stuff like that. There's a lot of talented wrestlers in TNA. And the fact that they can't come onto WWE soil on NXT and, like I said, it just makes the wrestlers better. Makes the wrestlers better. It's good for them, their chance to shine more. And it's also great for the, it's also great for the fans. So ever since they started doing this, like I said, recently you haven't really been seeing it. But, after they announced the partnership, you've seen TNA host their Genesis. You've seen Ashante the Adonis come out as well. And, it's going to make for some pretty badass content. Cora Jade seemingly challenging Masha Slamovich, the Knockouts champion, to a match. She basically came out and was like, stuck her flag in the ground. She's like, hey, I want a shot. So that should be pretty interesting as well. But overall, satisfied. Can't wait to see what they do in the future. Would be interesting to see AJ Styles make it back to TNA. That would be pretty damn cool. Or maybe like during Survivor Series they have like a Worlds Collide, like kind of PLE. I feel like that'd be amazing. That would be astonishing. Team TNA against Team NXT. That'd be pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. But like I said, wrestling fan, super excited it's happening. And, huge fan of TNA, huge fan of NXT. All right, guys, so hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our next segment. We have Bret Hart. Bret Hart could have saved WCW? Question mark. Maybe. I don't know. We're going to get into it when we come back. So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, and join me here in about 20 seconds. So, hey, do not go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We're here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, dramas. We talk about superstar and active statuses, injury updates. We talk about contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions from WWE to the GCW to the NWA to the New Japan Professional Wrestling. If it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the network so you guys can get some notifications whenever we go live. All right, so without further ado, let's jump on into my fourth segment. We got some Bret Hart talk. It's always good to talk about Bret Hart. Watching him growing up, he was pretty badass. He was like he was the standard of WWF/WWE. And it's a damn shame how it all went down. With the whole Montreal Screwjob thing, it was interesting. It was, it was Bret being Bret, but at the same time, Vince not holding up to his word. Bret Hart was set to make he was set to, I think it was 50. I think it might have been $50 million for 10 years, which would have made him a WWE superstar for that long. And he could have probably had the most championships if he would have stayed in WWE. And I definitely believe that 1,010%. But anyways, During the Monday Night Wars, you saw Bret Hart be kind of the face of WWE. You've seen it kind of land not too well with the whole Hulk Hogan thing and the steroid scandals and all the talk about, women being mistreated in the wrestling business in WWE. Neither here nor there. Obviously, I'm not, getting into that. But Bret Hart, he was a family man. He was a family man. He was like that NBA superstar or the NFL quarterback that gets interviewed after the game. Then you bring your kids on, and then everybody's like, "Damn, okay, can really invest in some, some love for this, for this individual." But it just wasn't meant to be. Destiny is destiny, and Bret Hart obviously kind of got the crap end of the stick at that one. Like I said, I recently watched a Broken Skull session when Stone Cold Steve Austin was interviewing Bret Hart. It was, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And WCW definitely, I feel like if they would have did the Bret Hart character a little bit, better, you could have definitely had that Bret Hart going head to head with his rival Shawn Michaels through through promotion, for the promotion rivalry. Like the Monday Night War is more than just a war. It's something that personally happened to Bret Hart. And then on the other side in WWF, you had Vince McMahon, you had Paul Levesque, you had Shawn Michaels, these guys who literally just kind of did you in, and I feel like wrestling fans would have ate that up. But Bret Hart even said himself, he was like, "Oh, it's it could have been something so beautiful, but it thanks to bad story writing and creative decisions and idiots like Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff." All Bret Hart's words. The Bret Hart character could have definitely been better and damn near could have saved the business. So do I believe it? Bret Hart was a star. He had so much momentum riding up until that Montreal screw job. And like I said, it just sucks. It just sucks that that WWE fans that only watch WWE kind of got robbed. A lot of big fans of Bret Hart, I feel like, switched to WCW and they saw like something that wasn't like WWF, which was more family friendly. And then they were like, okay, you know what? I'm not really going to invest time into this. I'd rather lose one superstar than lose a whole roster like The Rock, like Mankind, like, you've seen those guys in WWF, Paul Levesque, Triple H, and all that, D-Generation X. So, the more practical thing to do was just be like, okay, no more Bret the Hitman Hart, But, still want to stick to WWF. WCW could have definitely exploited the politics in WWE with Hart getting a decent storyline and, a more successful, more prominent title run. The Attitude Era obviously was too strong to defeat at the end of the day. And, WWE did adjust from that family friendly into that demographic of young adults, kind of soaking in what was making WCW so much successful, but at the same time still trying to be a little bit, more moderate. But during the Attitude Era, there's some pretty damn, crazy things, pretty crazy things. Bret Hart claimed that when he joined WCW, he should have been in the ring more with, Hogan, Nash, some of the veterans of the company, but they put him in the ring against someone who liked to hurt people. Like I said, his words, not mine. He was talking like a gorilla, like Bill Goldberg, and I was like, oh shit, like it's crazy, that's wild. But obviously we all knew what happened with the Bret Hart. Goldberg claims that he told him the kick was coming. Bret Hart got kicked in the head. That's the end of Bret Hart. He could never step into the ring again thanks to that concussion. He just wasn't the same wrestler. His equilibrium was off. He felt like he was like constantly out of it, and he was forced to retire at an age where he could have definitely been wrestling for about 20 more years. And obviously you knew that his bankroll kind of took a hit, because instead of being paid to be a wrestler, then now all of a sudden you're on the shelf and you get paid to do special appearances. And like I said, obviously it's not the same kind of money. So, Bret Hart, he still to this day, he still holds a grudge. Bill Goldberg still to this day, calls Bret Hart, an arse, says that he can believe whatever he wants to believe, but it was an accident. It was an accident. And, it could have been an accident, but, all of it kind of reflects on how WCW with these new superstars ultimately, didn't really train them that, like a WWE or WWF superstar. They didn't, they kind of just, there was a lot of time when they kind of threw them to the wolves. And you're going to be in a squash match with Bill Goldberg, and Bret Hart felt like he has had so much experience within the wrestling ring that there's really no plus side or a positive edge in terms of booking and storyline for him to go up against Bill Goldberg. So, it was crazy. Bret Hart's run in WWE and WCW, excuse me, could be viewed as a huge disappointment. There was poor creative direction. There was a lot of creative inconsistencies. He wasn't viewed as the guy. It was never, clear. There was always Hogan and Nash that always ran the show. Obviously, you find out nowadays that they had a creative clause in their contract where they can basically say who they're going to lose to, what they're going to do next. And sometimes you kind of have to let the creative people be the creative people, let the superstars be the superstars, wrestling inside the ring, not in the boardrooms. So it was, that's kind of doomed to start. There was a lot of stars in WCW. It was hard to share the spotlight, and especially with the direction that WCW was going with. They were into a lot of promos, and they were into more or less craziness inside the ring. Nobody wanted to see a tactician. Nobody wanted to see a hardcore wrestling match. No one wanted to see these two, like a submission. It was Bret Hart was like ground game. He was ground game, very technical wrestler. He did the high flying moves, from here to there, but he was like a submission specialist. So it was it was kind of crazy, but I feel like that also was a huge factor of him not quite like fitting in. There was a political climate. Obviously, backstage politics in WCW made it notoriously difficult. Bret Hart was at odds with management and other wrestlers, which led to him, which led to hindering his push and overall success. The fan base wasn't really fond of Bret Hart. Like I said, you bring in this guy, WCW was a little edgy. Their content was a little edgy, and you kind of have this guy, and it doesn't really seem like he fit. Timing, WCW was already kind of declining in popularity. Some say that he was before his time in WWE. Bret Hart definitely thought about his match in WCW, and he definitely thought his skills weren't really appreciated. Weren't really appreciated. Like I said before, it was more or less just kind of what the entertainment factor. Kind of that's what Eric Bischoff and the creative in WCW wanted to accomplish more than having somebody wrestle in like a 20-minute wrestling match. But could he have saved WCW? I feel like it could have happened. Who knows? Maybe it could have helped a little bit more. But more or less, I feel like it was it was rotting from the inside out in terms of creative and stuff like that. And when it comes to that, sometimes you can't fix it. All right, guys, talked a little bit more about Bret Hart than I initially planned to. Now we're going to move on to my fifth and final segment. We're going to talk about Kelani Jordan turning heel in NXT. Do you think it's a good or bad idea? We're going to talk about it when we come back. So, do not go anywhere. Counter. We are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Here to talk about the greatest thing in the world, professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain calls, rumors, dramas. We talk about injury statuses, inactive like updates, like what are the wrestlers doing when they're not injured, like, for example, like Becky Lynch, she's starting family, but wants spending some time with her family, not necessarily injured, but not necessarily going to just jump at a new WWE contract right away. We talk about, contract negotiations, extensions, and new signings. We talk about promotions like WWE to AEW to TNA to Ring of Honor. Obviously, if it makes major news in the world of professional wrestling, we talk about it here on this show, 1,010%. So, hey, make sure you like and subscribe. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about our fifth and final segment. We got Kelani Jordan. Recently on NXT, it doesn't really seem like she's, she even said it herself, she does not want to be the little sister anymore. And a lot of the times in terms of being a professional wrestler, sometimes turning heel could be the best decision of your life. Some people, it took them turning heel to, finally achieve success. Like, a couple of names that come to mind is Edge. And, of course, recently, with the Roman Reigns, ever since the, the acknowledge me gimmick and stuff like that, he had a historic title reign. As a babyface, Roman Reigns was, kind of hated. But, as soon as he was a heel, they wrapped that stuff up, man. So, I, definitely thought, that was cool. Obviously, Kelani Jordan, a former, Olympian, a former NXT Women's, she was the inaugural NXT Women's North American Champion. And recently, like I said, Kelani Jordan has been showing heel-like motives, inside and outside of the ring. With Roxanne Perez, probably the biggest heel in the women's division, going to the main roster, you kind of need somebody to fill in that void. Somebody that's, who's had title success in the past. Someone who, when you think about the NXT Women's World Championship, you kind of, like, oh, she's a contender. And if, somebody like Kelani Jordan finds a way to embrace that heel-like, kind of like her man, Carmelo Hayes, where, Kelani Jordan don't miss. I'm just kidding. No, but, maybe something like that where she comes out a little stronger, maybe a little bit more, high tone. But obviously you do have the Fatal Influence as well. You have Nikita Lyons in that women's division. Jada Parker, not really a heel, but not really a babyface. But it seems like this nice girl gimmick of Kelani Jordan, like, I feel like right now it's kind of run dry. So something has to change. Something definitely has to change. She comes back with a new persona, obviously. She's feuded with, or she's had backstage confrontations with, with Lola Vice, with Stephanie Vaquer. And 1,010%, she could pull a heel off. Some people I feel like, don't deserve to be a heel, but then it turns out to be kind of good. Because for the longest time, when Bayley was a heel, I wasn't a huge fan of it. Probably because she can't really talk on the mic. She's always ding dong, stupid, it was very like an immature child, But it all, at the end of the day, it all worked out. She formed Damage Control, and then bam, you saw Dakota Kai, Kairi Sane, Asuka, and Io Sky kind of get over with that gimmick, and it proved to be pretty damn well. So it wouldn't surprise me if you kind of get a different flavor of Kelani Jordan on NXT. I definitely feel like failure is kind of lingering, and she wants to be a success again. She wants a championship reign, and sometimes that that push or that feeling could just be like a drug. So it wouldn't surprise me if she, decides to be like a heel. Well, obviously not like a, not like your traditional heel. I feel like in the women's division, we haven't had like a surprise heel turn in like forever. So, I definitely think that the not being successful lately, obviously she was Pro Wrestling's Rookie of the Year. But, that kind of stuff, sometimes winning an accomplishment when you feel like you don't deserve it after losing your title, after losing match after match after match. Like I said, success could be a drug. It could be eating her inside. And I don't know. I just feel like, she said it herself. She doesn't want to be the little sister anymore. She doesn't. And, she even had this to say. She commented on winning the PW Illustrated's Rookie of the Year. She said, and I quote, honored and humbled to be named PWI's Rookie of the Year. So this would just make her heel turn absolutely that much more incredible. Kind of like that young, Sasha Banks kind of feel to it. Her mic skills, I got to be honest, do, concern me a little bit. But I feel like she has that, like, I don't know how to explain it. She has that edge to her, like, where it's, if she turned heel, she would be absolutely disrespectful to somebody. Like she would, like she'll say something when she's angry. Then she'll come back and apologize for it. And then that's just something the crowd really can relate, really can relate to, in real life. It's, not every day goes your way. And sometimes you do say things or end up doing things that ultimately, kind of shock you and yourself, kind of see that character development. And then, later on you'll have, this transition, this journey that she will be on. And then, you're going to make your mistakes when your head's filled with rage because you haven't been successful lately. And, you're going to say and do things that are, it's going to come to a shock, even to yourself. And then later on, she's going to wrap up and then the fans are going to love her again. And, just wouldn't really surprise me if you see just, like I said, she's not going to be your traditional heel. I feel like that would be not really Kelani Jordan's ultimate, wouldn't really be a good booking for her if you have her just like all of a sudden start flipping tables over and slapping drinks out of everybody's hands. Is like, no, like, you know what I mean? I think that would be, kind of stupid. So if they do decide to do the heel turn, I feel like you got to make it good. Like I said, Roxanne Perez gone. She's probably going to be on SmackDown. Cora Jade looking like she's going to be wrapped up in a storyline with Masha Slamovich, the TNA Knockouts World Champion. So, it kind of leaves a little bit of love open. Who knows? Maybe she links up with, Carmen or Petrovich, or maybe she finds a way to, get maybe Izzy Dame. Maybe, I don't know. It's up in the air right now. It's absolutely up in the air. But wouldn't shock me. I know that she has all the skills inside the ring. I know that she can, like I said, her mic skills do kind of concern me a little bit, but I feel like it'll be okay. All right, guys. So, hey, that's it for me. Hope you guys had a great time. Hope you guys are, being, safe. Hope you guys are, holding your loved ones close. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys are watching the NFL playoffs. Hopefully, if your team's lost, I'm sorry. If they're achieving success, congratulations. My team was dead the moment the season started. I'm just kidding. No, but the Giants will prevail once, they will definitely. So, make sure you guys, slap that like and subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter, /X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook for more content and updates. And like I always say, if I have not made you a wrestling fan by now, we have, all around sports. We have, we have a bunch of podcasts. So make sure you guys check them out on the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan, logging out. Stay beautiful, but most importantly, love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go